from home and also those who are streaming in live, welcome on board. This is the CPF AGM. At this point in time, I'd like to request and ask our sound team to give us the national anthem before we proceed to our prayer. Let us be upstanding for the national anthem, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As we are still upstanding, I'd like us to observe a moment of prayer, and I'd like to invite on stage Esther Karegi to lead us in a word of prayer. Asante.
Thank you very much. We can believe and pray. Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you for this morning. Thank you for this meeting. Thank you for this far that you have brought us. We acknowledge that this far we have come. It is your doing, and it is marvelous in our sight. Thank you for our leadership, for our stakeholders, for our members that are watching us throughout the country. We pray that, Lord, may you give us a fruitful meeting even as we chart the way forward into the years to come. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, let's all be seated. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, welcome to the CPF Annual General Meeting, which we are streaming live to you on YouTube, Facebook, and also on KTN Home. We are delighted to have with us His Excellency, the Governor of Embu, and also the Chairman of the Council of Governors, His Excellency Martin Wambora. Thank you for making time to join us this morning. We also have the top leadership of the CPF, as well as stakeholders from the industry that governs pensions. We'll be getting to hear from them as we progress with our program today. And I'd like to now invite a gentleman who will be taking us through the next phase of our program, and this is Mr. Isaac Mitei. He is the company secretary. He'll be reading the notices of the meetings, as well as reading and approval of the minutes of the previous annual general meetings. Let's appreciate him as he comes on stage, ladies and gentlemen.
Our chief guest, who is also the chairman of the Council of Governors, the chairman, Board of Trustees, board members present, invited guests, members of the three schemes, all protocols observed. Allow me to take us through the notices for the three pension schemes, and I will start with the one for the defined benefit scheme. Notice of the 18th Annual General Meeting to the members of the Local Authority Pensions Trust, that is LAP Trust, which is our defined contribution. Notice is hereby given that the Annual General Meeting of the Local Authorities Pension Trust, LAP Trust, will take place virtually on Zoom CPF social media pages and also shall be streamed live on KTN Home Television on June 23rd, 2021 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The agenda of this meeting is 1, introduction and opening remarks. Number 2, reading of the notice of the meeting. Number 3, reading and taking note of the minutes of the annual general meeting held on 26th of June 2020. Number 4, presentation of the investment manager's report. Number 5, presentation of the scheme's custodian report. Number 6, presentation by the scheme actuary. Number 7, presentation of the financial statements and audited accounts for the year 2020. Number 8, presentation of the administrator's report. Number 9, presentation of the chairman's report. Number 10, remarks by the chief guest. Number 11, awards and recognition. Questions and answers, presentation by the stakeholders of the scheme, and finally, vote of thanks. The second notice is for our DC scheme, that is defined contribution scheme, the county pension fund scheme. Notice is hereby given that the annual general meeting of the county pension fund will take virtually on Zoom, the CPF social media pages, and will also be streamed live on KTN Home on June 23rd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The agenda: 1, introduction and opening remarks. Number 2, reading of the notice. Number 3, reading and taking note of the minutes of the annual general meeting held on 26th June, the year 2020. Number 4, presentation of the investment manager's report. Number 5, presentation of the scheme's custodian report. Number 6, presentation of the financial statement and audited accounts for the year 2020. Number 7, presentation of the administrator's report. Number 8, presentation of the corporate trustees report. Number 9, remarks by the chief guest. Number 10, awards and recognition. Number 11, question and answers. Number 12, presentation by stakeholders of the scheme. And finally, vote of thanks. Members, I now read the notice for the third pension scheme, which is our individual pension plan. And the notice is for the 7th annual general meeting. Notice is hereby given that the annual general meeting of the individual pension plan will take place virtually on Zoom, CPF social media pages, and will also be streamed live on KTN Home Television on June 23rd, the year 2021, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The agenda of this AGM will be introduction and opening remarks. Number 2, reading of the notice of the meeting. Number 3, reading and taking note of the minutes of the annual general meeting held on 26th of June 2020. Number 4, presentation of the investments manager's report. Number 6, presentation of the financial statements and audited accounts for the year 2020. Number 7, presentation of the administrator's report. Number 8, presentation of the corporate trustees report. Number 9, remarks by the chief guest. Number 10, award and recognition. Number 11, question and answers. Number 12, presentation by stakeholders of the scheme. And finally, vote of thanks. Our chief guest, then allow me to go to the third agenda, which is the reading of the minutes of all the schemes out of the meeting that took place on 26th of June, the year 2020. I will start with that one of the defined benefit, that is the lab trust. And members, you can be able to access these minutes through our social media pages. If you look at cpf.or.ke, you'll be able to see these reports. If you are walking through with me, the first and second pages of those minutes appear to only indicate the members who attended the meeting of that day. The minute number 1 was on introduction and opening remarks. Minute number 2 was a keynote address by the chief guest. And minute number 3 was on reading of the notice of the 17th annual general meeting. And minute number 4 was the reading and approval of the minutes of the 16th AGM, which was held on 27th of June, 2019. Minute number 5 was presentation of the trustees report, which has been put there in detail. Minute number 6 was presentation of the administrator's report, which was quite detailed. It runs all the way to page number 8. Minute number 7 was presentation of the investments manager's report. Again, details have been given. Presentation of the custody report, details given. And ladies and gentlemen, this is just to confirm that actually the meeting which took place during that time, all the proceedings were well captured and put in form of minutes. And as such, may I at this juncture ask the members to give me a proposer and a seconder of those minutes. I now ask for a proposer. A proposer, please.
We are soon getting the proposer.
Okay, I'm informed that one Mohamud.
Mr. Zingari, member number 1993-000-6330. I attended the meeting virtually and I propose these minutes as the true record of the proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. Zingari. May I have a seconder?
My name is John Dunda, member number 30747, and do hereby solemnly confirm that I attended the meeting virtually and do second the minutes as a true copy of the original proceedings.
Thank you. Thank you, member. Ladies and gentlemen, I now turn to the minutes for our defined contribution, that is County Pension Fund. And again, the first and second pages demonstrates on how the members attended that material day. Minute number 1, again, it was introduction and opening remarks. Number 2 was a keynote address by the chief guest. And number 3 was reading of the notice of the 6th annual general meeting. And the minutes goes and goes and goes. I'm sure members, you are able to access those minutes and are able also to read the same. And as such, we also confirm from our end, we actually recorded everything that took place during that day. And at this juncture, again, allow me to ask for the proposer and a seconder of those minutes.
My name is Mahmoud Ali, member number 20409, and I propose these minutes as the true records of the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohamud. And a seconder?
My name is Caroline Mudhoni Karidhi, member number DC 148951. I attended the meeting virtually and I second these minutes as the true record of the proceedings.
Thank you, Caroline. Members, allow then me to go through the minutes for the individual pension plan, our scheme, which is that scheme. And again, having gone through the minutes, page 1 and 2 actually represents on how the members attended. And minute number 2 shows the keynote address by the chief guest. Minute number 3, reading of the notice of the annual general meeting. And ladies and gentlemen, the minutes goes and goes. So almost 14 pages of the proceedings as to how they were captured that very day. And as such, we confirm from our end that actually we captured everything that took place during that day for purposes of our individual pension scheme. May I then ask from the members to have a proposer and a seconder of those minutes.
My name is Saumu Salim, number 1993, 3231, 8622. I attended the meeting virtually and I propose this minute as a true record of the proceedings.
Thank you, Saum. Seconder.
My name is Stephen Munyao Sami, member number DC 148547. I attended the meeting virtually and I second these minutes as a true record of the proceedings.
Thank you, Munyao. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I come to the end of the presentation of the notices and also the reading of the minutes for the schemes. Thank you and God bless.
All right, let's give a better round of applause to the Company Secretary, Mr. Isaac Mitei. Let's proceed to our next presenter, and that is Madam Muthoni Mu. She'll be presenting on behalf of the Investment Managers Report. She'll be covering the Lap Trust DB, ICA Lion Asset Management Limited, Britam Asset Managers Limited, CIC Asset Management. Secondly, she'll also be presenting, she'll be presenting up to CIC Asset Management. That is Madam Muthoni Mu. Welcome on board. Presentation of Lap Trust DB Investment Managers Report.
Thank you, Abby. Our chief guest, His Excellency Martin Wambora, the board, management and staff of CPF Financial Services, other service providers, and most importantly, members and pensioners of Lap Trust. Good morning, and all protocols observed. My name is Muthoni Mu from ICA Lion Asset Management, and I will take you through the Fund Managers Report for the period ended December 2020, and I will be representing CIC and a Britam Asset Management. So I will take you through the role of the fund manager, the macroeconomic review, the fund summary, and the outlook for 2021. The role of the fund manager is largely to invest the funds of the members. We also implement the strategy, the investment strategy for the investment policy statement. We also ensure the funds are compliant with both the investment policy statement as well as the regulatory guidelines. We then report to the trustees at least on a quarterly basis and to members on an annual basis during the AGM. And we also offer training and we take all investment actions that are needed. In terms of the macroeconomic overview, 2020 was a very interesting year. We did have a contraction of the economy for the first time in over 10 years. The second quarter of 2020 contracted by 5.7%, and the third quarter by 1.1%. And overall, the CBK, as well as many analysts, review and anticipate that the overall economic growth for 2020 will be at 0.6%, which is quite low. However, in 2021, we've begun to see a recovery with the vaccine rollout as well as the opening up of the economy. The sectors that were hardest hit in 2020 was the hospitality industry, education, as well as transport. In terms of inflation, which is just a general upward trend in prices in the economy, we did have moderate inflation during 2020, and we closed the year at a value of 5.62%. And we expect inflation this year as well to continue being within the Central Bank of Kenya's target of 5% with a band of plus or minus 2.5%. We've had a good food production this year and last year, and anticipate that to keep inflation moderate for the year. When it comes to interest rates, we saw a general downward trend in interest rates for the year 2020, and the interest rates closed much lower in 2020 than they were in 2029. the Central Bank of Kenya, through the Monetary Policy Committee, that's the MPC, they lowered the central bank rate from 8.5% to 7%, just showing the general decline in interest rates. And they also did this to spur economic activity on the backdrop of well-contained headline inflation. When it comes to currency, the shilling did depreciate quite significantly against the dollar, 7.7% in 2020. And this was on the back of huge global dollar demand, as well as investor flight to safety. So investors preferred to have their funds in dollars compared to local currency. However, our shilling was supported by resilient diaspora remittances, and this is the funds that come in from our citizens who are in other countries abroad, as well as sufficient Central Bank of Kenya dollar reserves. In 2021, we have seen a reversal of this depreciation against the dollar, and the shilling has appreciated and reaching levels of 106, and however, it is currently settling at levels of 107, 108 to the dollar. In terms of the equities market or the stock market, this is where the action happened. You know, the countries or the companies that are listed in the stock exchange do not operate in a vacuum. They operate in this economy. And remember, earlier I said that we did have a contraction of the economy. And this resulted in the earnings of companies that are listed being significantly affected. And so investor uncertainty due to the negative impact of COVID-19, it weighed down on equities in 2020. And if you compare this to 2019, we had the Nairobi All Share Index up 18.5%. However, in 2020, we did see a significant fall to 8.6%. And of course, this affects performance. It affected performance for 2020. And on the positive side, 2021 is our year of recovery, and we have seen a significant improvement in this index. For the first quarter of 2021, we had the Nairobi All Share Index up 4.3%, and to date, it is up 14%. So a significant improvement when it comes to the equities. In terms of property, we had begun a slow recovery, with the removal of the rate cap. However, COVID-19 came in and has further slowed the recovery in the property sector. But that said, we did have some sectors that have been resilient, such as affordable housing, logistics, and healthcare properties. They showed a lot of resistance despite the COVID-19 pandemic. And of note is during the fourth quarter of 2020, the government unveiled 1,370 affordable housing units in Park Road in Ngara. So there's a lot of progress towards affordable housing, which is part of the Big Four agenda for this government. In 2021, we do want to begin to see a slow recovery in the property sector. And now to the numbers, I will say the fund returns, despite the hard year that was there in 2020, we did have the investment income resilient at 1.8 billion for the year. And we had revaluation losses of just 200 million, and this is largely attributed to the negative performance or the downward trend in prices of listed equities. And we had a total investment return of 1.6 billion for the full year of 2020. In terms of how the funds were allocated, a large portion of it was in government securities, that's just shy of 30%, and in short-term securities, that's deposits with banks, was at 4%, and a portion of it was in investment in property, which is about 50%, and equities, we had just shy of 10% allocated there. And the total assets for the Lab Trust DB scheme is 31 billion, quite stable from the previous year. In terms of our outlook for 2021, I've mentioned a lot of it, but I'll just highlight that 2021 is our year of recovery. The currency has shown resilience and appreciation this year. In terms of inflation, we anticipate it will continue to be moderate for the year 2021, and interest rates, the trend has been a bit upward. However, we do anticipate that it will be quite stable. And equities, we are cautiously optimistic, as the corporate earnings recover this year. And on property, we anticipate a slow recovery in 2021. Members, thank you for listening to me. I will answer any questions during the Q&A. Thank you.
Asante sana, Madam Mawo, for that very detailed presentation, which clearly shows that it is indeed the year of recovery, considering that the economic fundamentals are slowly falling in place, with growth projected to rebound in this fiscal year. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to go to our next presentation, and we want to invite on stage Mr. Nicholas Ithondeka, who will be making a presentation on behalf of the County Pension Fund and IPP, Corp Trust Investment Services Limited, Sanlam Investments East Africa Limited, CIC Asset Management, CIC Plaza. Karibu sana, Bwana Nicholas.
Thank you, Adis. Our chief guest, Chairman of the Council of Governors, Governor Wambura, Chairman of the CPF Financial Services, Corporate Trustee, NatBank, Group Managing Director of CPF, Bwana Jose Akili, scheme members, I pray to God that all of you are well. Today I have the privilege of taking you through the scheme investments for the DC Fund on behalf of Corp Trust Investment Services, where I serve as the CEO and Managing Director, and also CIC, Asset Managers, and I know the MD, Stanley Motuko, is in the room. So members, I will be a bit brief as compared to what Esther was able to present on the investment matters of the DC Fund. Again, we were operating on the same environment, again, COVID background, which meant a bit of slowdown in growth. But however, what I'll try and focus as I move on is mainly the 2021 rebound, which again, as investment managers, we are here to be able to steer the scheme quite through. So the parameters, as were well explained by Modoni, in terms of the inflation parameters, the GDP, the currency as well. Members, you kindly allow me just to focus on a bit on the markets and the numbers. So on fixed income markets, largely last year we did have drop in interest rates, mainly because the banks, as expected, were shy to lend, and there was a bit of liquidity in the market. And for the scheme, when the rates dropped, the bond values that we were holding were able to give us better performance because of the positive valuation, and that is what largely upheld the performance of the scheme. Equity markets, just before I jump into the numbers, you will see last year as well heavily impacted because of the movements of the market prices. And again, from the books, you will see a bit of capital losses there. Again, in 2021, we are very happy to see the rebound in stocks. In Q1, we had seen almost close to 15% growth, which again, we'll be happy to see that recovery and supersede the performance that we've always been able to demonstrate across the years. So members, I'll jump through to the numbers. I think this is where we'll focus on. And we are mainly holding the DC Fund and the IPP, which is the Individual Pension Plan. For the DC Fund, we are sitting with about 16.59 billion. We have two sets of portfolios there. One of them is a Sharia compliant fund, Salih Fund, and as you can see there, it has investments totaling about 2.3 billion. For the main fund, which is a conventional fund, we are holding about 16.594 billion, and the significant proportion sits on government securities. And we have the distribution there, which is in line with the Retirement Benefits Authority, and also in line with the investment policy statement of the scheme, which talks about the distribution of what we can hold within the law. So compared to last year, 2020 and 2019, the fund has grown by about 5 billion, again, which is testimony of course, you members, and of course, what you've been able to do through the Board of Trustees and CPF Financial Services. And we are now holding about 19 billion in total, compared to last year where we were holding about 14 billion, thereby showing the 5 billion growth in terms of asset values. In terms of distribution, you'll see there the conventional fund, we are largely holding government securities, which is 68.4% of the fund. Investment in properties, just slightly below 7%. Quoted equities, 1%. Quoted equities, again, one of the strongest recoveries we are having in 2021, and members will be happy to report this performance come next year, about 17% on stocks. On the Salih Fund, which is the Sharia compliant fund, you can see there compliant investments in fixed deposits, about 95%. Again, you're stepping out of those into more compliant investments as they progress on in the market, so you'll be able to see a bit of more diversification in the year 2021. 5 years back, this fund was about slightly below 1 million, so the growth has been, again, exponential. You'll see there 16.59 billion, 10 times multiples plus across the years. Again, this is a testimony of how well the fund is run, and of course, contributions plus investment return being able to drive the growth of the performance across the last couple of years. On the salary fund as well, 3 years ago, set up again just below 1 million. Again, tremendous growth there, 2.3 billion as we stand in 2020. In 2021, again, you still see substantial growth on the fund values. Again, testimony of a well-run fund and compliant fund. So asset allocation for the IPP, again, is an individual pension plan, again, 3.268 billion. That's a 100% composition of the asset management. Total fund is 3.5 billion. Distribution of assets, you see there 66.52 on government securities, which again is quite intentional of us, and we were happy to see it hold through for COVID-19 year, which is 2020, in terms of giving us interest. Short-term deposits, again, just to manage liquidity, 9% of the fund, cash equivalents 4.64. Quoted equities, again, very strategic investment there. We're only holding about 9 stocks in the market, about 18%. By the time we close the year and moving forward, you should be able to see us go through the recovery in the year 2021, as we will report in the next year. In terms of comparative to 2019 and 2020, there again, same pace of growth. We were 2 billion in 2019. We are 3.5 billion in 2020, again, which is testimony of what we've been able to do as partners and, of course, as members and administration. Fund value growth, last 5 years as well, you can see there 2015 to 2020, we started at about below 300 million. We are now at 3.52 billion. Again, very fantastic and tremendous growth. The biggest jump happened in 2018, 2019, 2020. Still a growth, but a slowdown compared to the previous year, mainly because of the factors I've explained quite well. So members, going forward in terms of strategy, we are looking at the recovery in 2021, which has worked well for us. I think in Q1 numbers, even as we close Q2 numbers, which is early next week or late next week, you will see the numbers are coming through, especially for the equity markets, the recovery. And again, all this is pegged on the recovery from COVID-19. We are sitting with very high vaccination rates, especially across the African markets in Kenya, which is again is driving our recovery in markets. And we of course pray that we'll be able to maintain that pace as we move forward. So members, on behalf of myself, the MD of Corp Trust, and CIC Managing Director Stanley Mutua, who's also in the room, we thank you for the support, and we wish you well in the upcoming year, and of course pray that next year as we stand here, we'll be able to give you much better numbers. Asante sana, and may God bless you.
Thank you so much, MD Corp Trust, for that detailed presentation. And listening to both previous presenters, you can clearly see that your money is in good hands. Chair, I'd like to remind our viewers back home that we continue to live stream and broadcast this AGM. So far, Bwana Chair, I understand we have close to 1 million plus watching currently on TV, and we also have 1,000 plus on Zoom, and we have more than 500 on Facebook. I'd like to invite our next presenter, and that is Florence Nduba, who will be making a presentation of the Custodian's report. This is for Lab Trust DB, Standard Chartered Bank Limited, Kenya Commercial Bank Limited, and Equity Bank Limited. The presentation will be of Lab Trust DB Custodian's report. Karibu, Madam Florence Nduba.
Our chief guest, Chairman, the Council of Governors, the board, management and staff of the CPF Financial Services, members and pensioners of Lab Trust, fellow service providers, good morning. My name is Florence Nduba from KCB Bank, and it is my pleasure to table the Custodian's report for the Lab Trust Defined Benefit Scheme. We are 3 custodians looking after the assets of this fund, including Standard Chartered Bank, KCB Bank, and Equity Bank, who are all represented today. And I will be confirming to you the services we offer this scheme as custodians, as well as the statutory obligations we must adhere to ensure that your assets are fully safeguarded. As a custodian, our role is to ensure that the fund's assets are fully safeguarded at all times, and we undertake our responsibilities in line with the regulations which are set out by the Retirement Benefits Authority. We ensure that as custodians, we do not offer any investment advice to the Board of Trustees or to the fund managers. It is the role of the fund managers to advise and optimize the returns for the scheme. And as custodians, we undertake investment administration. This separation of the roles of the custodians and the fund managers ensure that there is transparency in how the investments of the scheme and the assets of the scheme are safeguarded. It reduces risk and allows for value addition, where each party focuses on their core area of expertise. In addition to the safekeeping of the assets, we undertake settlement of the transactions. That is, we buy and sell the securities as guided by your investment managers. We ensure the securities are registered in the name of the scheme and collect all income arising out of those investments. We also undertake reporting to the trustees and the regulators on a regular basis to confirm the status of these assets. When I talk of the assets, you've heard from your fund managers where the money is invested. You have the cash, you have the government securities, you have the properties, you have the equities, you have the offshore investments. So all those assets, the purchase and sale and collection of income arising out of those securities is undertaken by your custodian. All the contributions also come directly to the custodian into the accounts of the scheme. As custodians, we are required to maintain technical capacity and adequate operational systems to be able to carry out our roles as custodians. And we are also required to ensure that our licensing is in order. We are regulated and licensed by the Central Bank of Kenya, the Retirement Benefits Authority, as well as the Capital Markets Authority. I do wish to confirm that the 3 custodians who are looking after the assets of this scheme are well licensed and in compliance with all the regulatory requirements. As custodians, we also ensure that the assets of your fund are maintained in segregated accounts and they are not mixed with the assets of any other scheme. We maintain proper records, and these are available to your auditors at the time of audit of the scheme funds. To undertake our responsibilities, we do have in place the necessary instruments, including the custody contracts, which guide our operations between ourselves and the Board of Trustees, as well as service level agreements executed between ourselves and the fund managers. I wish to confirm to you that during the year under review, we did indeed hold a total of 31 billion as assets under custody. As indicated, these are held in various asset categories, including cash, deposits, government securities, corporate bonds, equities, and property investments, as well as offshore investments. All the investments we did hold were within the authorized investment asset categories as guided by the regulations issued by the Retirement Benefits Authorities. We do confirm that we did hold the title deeds of all the properties of the scheme. These include the pension towers, which was valued at about 1.4 billion as at the end of the year. We also did hold the CPF house, valued at 922.5 million. The other property that the scheme holds is the Metro Park, valued at 650 million. You have Freedom Heights Mall, which is off Langate Road, valued at 1.96 billion. This is the Freedom Heights Mall and Residence, as well as the open areas within the residence. We did also hold the Nova Pioneer School investment of about 1.5 billion. This is located in Eldoret, as well as the Naserian current development, valued at approximately 1.5 billion at the end of that year. Members, I wish to confirm to you that your assets are held safely in our custody And I will stop there and take any questions at the appropriate time. Thank you.
A round of applause. Indeed, your assets are in good hands. And they're not only in good hands, but you can see the value when you look at the return on investment. I'd like now to invite on stage Mr. George Mwangi, who will be making a presentation of County Pension Fund and IPP Custodian's report. He'll be representing the County Pension Fund, Equity Bank Limited, NCBA Bank Custodial Services. Karibu.
Thank you very much. Our chief guests, the board, management, and staff of the CPF Financial Services, my fellow colleagues, the custodian and fund managers present, members and pensioners of Lab Trust, members of the press, and all those joining us online. Good morning. My name is George Mwangi. I'm a custodian, Equity Bank, and I'm going to take you through the custodian report for the two funds, which we share the custody with the NCBA, and represented here by Eva Mwangi. I will start by the investment summary of the County Pension Fund. As you can see, in the year 2020, we had cash and cash equivalents of 199,985, and also we do have 94,090 for SARI fund. The short-term deposits 199,38,902 and SARI 1.8. We had the biggest chunk of this investment are in government securities, which is 10.7 billion. Then we have quoted shares, investment properties, as you can see, and unquoted shares. The assets under custody for the confessional fund is 15,679,217, and for the SARI is 1,914,120. The total assets for the year 2020 was 16,594,036, and for SARI was 2.3. As you can see, the growth of the funds from 2015 all the way to 2020, a significant growth of the fund. In the year 2020, 16.5, as I have explained in the previous slide. Now I go to the other fund, and you can see the investment summary also, the cash and cash equivalents of 151,545, and also the short-term deposit 322. The biggest investment of this is in government securities of 2.1. Then we have quoted and unquoted equities. Then the total asset under custody was 3.2, 68,136. So the total assets for the fund, as I explained, is 3.5 billion. Now the slide shows also the movement of the assets from 2015, the significant growth of the fund, to 2020, which is 3.5 billion. The most critical thing here I want to confirm to the members is that we assure you that the assets for the County Pension Fund and CPF individual pension scheme exist and are safe, and we can account for all of them. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Let's appreciate Mr. Mwangi for his presentation. We are moving well on schedule. I'd like to invite on stage Victor Odendo, who will be making a presentation by corporate trustee for the County Pension Fund and IPP. Let's appreciate Mr. Victor Odendo. Karibu.
the chairman and our chief guest of the Council of Governors, Honorable Ambora, the Principal Secretary, Devolution, Honorable Corrida, CEO, COG, thank you for gracing us, the Chairman, Lab Trust, the Chairman, CPF, the Group MD and CEO, Mr. Kelly, our representative from our regulator, RBA, Carol, my colleagues in the service industry, all protocols observed. Good morning, scheme members. My name is Victor Odendo. I'm representing the corporate trustee. I am with NatBank Trustees and Investment Services Limited, a subsidiary of the National Bank of Kenya, and duly appointed corporate trustee of CPF and IPP. I wish to confirm to you members that our appointment is in line with the RBA regulations and in accordance with the fund scheme rules and regulations. My purpose today is to, number one, confirm our responsibility to your scheme and confirm that all is well with the operations of the scheme. Members, just to take you back in terms of what is our role and responsibility. As our trustee, our key aim is to ensure that your fund grows and continues to prosper. My role as trustee is to be responsible in policy formulation, in terms of investments of the scheme, scheme administration, ensuring payment of benefits, and ensuring all documents of title are held properly and protected under our custodians. Members, I wish to confirm that I work closely with your scheme administrator and ensure that there is prudence in all matters relating to operations of the scheme. As your trustee, we have also ensured that we have established structures and standards to enable we discharge our duties independently and free from any unlawful directions, undue influence, or any other form of compulsion. This is best practice, and we comply with the regulator. As trustee, again, we take responsibility for the effective and efficient management of the scheme and ensure that all meetings are convened in a timely and in accordance with our scheme regulations and our trust deed and rules. Members, I wish to confirm that as your trustee, during the period under review, we did receive the requisite presentations from the fund managers, from the custodians, from the actuary, and all the legal advisors on matters relating the fund. We also confirm that we've reviewed the corporate strategy, the financial plans, including budgets and forecasts that have been prepared by the administrator and the sponsor during our quarterly corporate trustee meetings. That said, I'd like to take you to the performance of the scheme and to give some assurances to you scheme members. With respect to our conventional fund, I hereby confirm that the investments were held prudently and total 19 billion as has been presented by both fund managers, and this is distributed between the SALI fund and the conventional fund at 16.5 and 2.3 billion respectively. I also confirm for the IPP, the funds under management total 3.5 billion during the period under review. Members, I wish to congratulate you and affirm that your membership continues to grow exponentially. In terms of fund sponsors, we currently have 164 sponsors for CPF and 21 sponsors for SALI, membership tallying 57,266 members. I'm equally excited that for the IPP, your membership continues to grow and currently stands at 15,405. We do congratulate you for this solid performance and encourage you to encourage your members to join either of these schemes. Members, I wish to confirm that there are no self-investments nor have any fund assets been used as security or collateral on behalf of the employer or any connected business or individual. Members, before I conclude, I wish to confirm that our auditor, Deloitte & Touche, have expressed their willingness to continue in office as auditors. Lastly, and as part of my fiduciary responsibility, I wish to indicate that the RBA require the trustee to prepare financial statements for each financial year which give a true and fair view of the disposition of the fund assets and its liabilities as at the end of the year. The regulations also require the trustee to ensure that the fund keeps proper accounting records which disclose with reasonable accuracy at any time the financial position of the fund. The trustee hereby confirms that you are responsible for the preparation of the financial statements that have been prepared and shared with yourselves. As I conclude, I wish to indicate that having made an assessment of the fund's ability to meet its obligations, the trustee is not aware of any material uncertainties relating to events or conditions that may cast doubt upon the fund's ability to meet its obligation. I thank you, dear members. That is my trustee's report. The full report is presented in the financial statements that have been shared. We thank you, and God bless you and your families.
All right, let's appreciate Mr. Victor Odendo for his presentation. We are moving on well, Bwana Chair, and I'd like to now bring on stage Pauline Mwai from PricewaterhouseCoopers, who will be making a presentation of the financial statements and audited accounts for the year 2020. Welcome on stage, Madam Pauline Mwai. A representative?
The chief guest, His Excellency Governor Martin Wambora, Chairman of CPF Financial Services, corporate trustees, esteemed members and pensioners, good morning. All protocols observed, I will present to you our opinion on the financial statements of Local Authority Pension Trust for the year ended 31st December 2020. My name is Pauline Mwai, representing PricewaterhouseCoopers. I will read to you our opinion. We have audited the accompanying financial statements of Local Authorities Pension Trust, set out on pages 32 to 61, which comprise the statement of net assets available for benefits as at 31st December 2020, and the statement of changes in net assets available for benefits and cash flows for the year then ended, and the notes to the financial statements, which include a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of Local Authorities Pension Trust as at 31st December 2020, and of its financial performance and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standard. This opinion has been signed by the signing partner responsible for the independent audit, FCPA Richard Njoroge, practicing certificate number P1244. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Pauline Mwai, for keeping it short and snappy. We want to get to the near penultimate stage, where we have to bring on stage a good friend of mine, someone we schooled with, and he's a good accountant. I'd like to bring on stage Mr. Kevin Karanja, who is going to be making a presentation on behalf of IPP and County Pension Fund. He's from Deloitte and Touche. Welcome, Mr. Karanja.
Thank you, Abby. We'll also try to make it short and sweet. Our chief guests, the board of directors, the trustees of the various schemes, the management of CPF Financial Services, members of the scheme, good morning. My name is Kevin Karanja. I'll be representing Deloitte for the two schemes that we are auditing, that is the County Pension Fund and the CPF Individual Pension Plan for the year ended 31st December 2020. I will also be reading our opinion on the same. So we have audited the accompanying financial statements of the County Pension Fund, set out on pages 11 to 33, which comprise the statement of net assets available for benefits as at 31st December 2020, the statement of changes in net assets available for benefits, and the statement of cash flows for the year then ended, and a summary of significant accounting policies and other explanatory notes. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial transactions of the fund during the year ended 31st December 2020 and of the disposition as at that date of its assets and liabilities, other than the liabilities to pay retirements and other benefits falling due after the end of the year in accordance with the International Financial Reporting Standards and the requirements of the Retirement Benefits Act. I think I will go ahead to read the other opinion for the CPF Individual Pension Plan. For this, we have also audited the accompanying financial statements of the CPF Individual Pension Scheme, set out on pages 20 to 38, which comprise the statement of net assets available for the benefits as at 31st December 2020, and the statement of changes of net assets available for benefits and the statement of cash flows for the year then ended, and a summary of significant accounting policies and other explanatory notes. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial transactions of the fund during the year then ended 31st December 2020, and of the disposition as at that date of its assets and liabilities, other than liabilities to pay retirement and other benefits falling due after the end of the year in accordance with the International Financial Reporting Standards and the requirements of the Retirement Benefits Act. So just in summary is that the financial statements have been well audited by us, and we are of the opinion that they do give a true and fair view for both funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin Karanja. You can clearly confirm that we paid our school fees and we are well educated. That is on a light note. I'd like us to move to now the man who will be giving us a very important aspect of today's AGM, and this is the CEO of the CPF Financial Services. He has been driving this great ship, and he will be giving us a presentation of the administrator's report, and that is none other than our CEO, Mr. Jose Akili, OGW. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, members. Our chief guest, His Excellency Martin Wambora, who is also chairman of Council of Governors, our PS for Devolution, and also who is a trustee of Lab Trust, our board chairman, Dr. Kwedo, for Lab Trust, Dr. Mr. Maurice Mdirano, the chairman of our CPF Financial Services, our trustees, and other invited guests, our regulator, represented by Mr. Charles Mashira and Caroline Obire, our service providers, whom we really respect and honor, including our two auditors, the staff of CPF Financial Services, and the general public who are watching us through the social media as well as the KTN. Good morning. I want to say that it gives me a lot of pleasure to actually host you, everybody here, being our the latest AGM, and I want to confirm, Chief Guest, that since RBA required pension funds to have AGMs, we were the first ones to hold it in 2005, and we have held the same consistently for the last many years up to today, and we hope we shall continue. We are, of course, holding the same even in the midst of COVID situation, and that's why we are using this kind of technology, which we believe means that we are able to account to our members without fail. Now, the year under review was not one of the toughest years in living memory, I think, for both corporates and individuals. As a responsible corporate, CPF Financial Service was quick to make adjustments to ensure the safety of our staff and our members, as well as business continuity during the period. Some of the measures we adopted included a robust ICT infrastructure and business continuity planning put in place by the corporate administrator, ensure seamless delivery of services as well as timely payout of pension benefits. We have never even missed a single payment of our members. And I want to say, Chair, that we don't even have a single unpaid claimant, despite the challenges, of course, you as our employers and sponsors have been suffering in terms of unremitted contribution. Staff were unable to securely work remotely from home through virtual connectivity to all our systems. We are one of the most digital institutions in this country, and therefore we did not suffer any service lockups or anything and challenges when we have had COVID. We had to work from home, and we managed. The administrator was quick to sensitize members of the fund to leverage the CPF mobile app to access their statements and carry out transactions from their comfort of their homes. Like now, they can actually, our members are able to walk through their mobile phones and receive all their statements, and even ask questions like they are asking now, and we will be giving them answers online on their mobile phones. Pensioners were given the option of receiving their monthly pensions remitted via the M-Pesa platform, and we want to thank Safaricom for this platform and the other service provider like Airtel. We were able to pay our pensioners so that they don't have to go to the bank to get their money. And this has always happened by the 18th or 20th of every month without fail. Pensioners were encouraged to stay home for the prescribed duration in order to reduce the chance of infection. Owing to this, we put in place a provision to remit monthly pension to our members without the provision of a life certificate. Normally, the law requires that we confirm that our members who are receiving pension are actually alive every 6 months. But because we were not able to, we do not want them to expose themselves, we waive that for our members. We remain cognizant that the future calls for greater flexibility and adaptability as we pursue our growth and transformation strategy. Recognize that remarkable courage and agility in decision making will be key hallmarks in this new and unpredictable environment. The local authorities pension trust defined benefit scheme remains a closed scheme from the year 2011. We have not been admitting any member since that time when we were directed by the National Treasury to stop. And all our members have been, young members have been directed to the county pension fund, which again had been earmarked by Treasury to be the pension scheme when the county governments come into place in the year 2013. And we shall be giving you some of the story about that. So we are paying pensions to our members in lab trusts as they retire, and we expect that as they continue retiring, the numbers will keep on dropping. So, for example, you'll realize that the pensioners list moved from 7,323 in year 2019 to 7,723 in year 2020. So it means there were many people who retired. And you can see the movement as shown on the screen for the members as well as the active members. Active members are down to 19,055 as of December 2020, up from 20,074 in 2019. So this is a scheme which is slowly winding down. The lapse scheme, the scheme closed a year at a fund value of 31.3 billion from Kenya shillings at 3.1 billion. So you can see the numbers are going down. Mr. Chairman, and I think this is where we really need your help. This scheme would actually be worth, in reality, over 60 billion. Half of the money is stuck with the government. And you as a national and county government need to resolve this problem. We are going to be unable to pay all our members if we don't get the balance of the money. But the scheme would actually be 60 billion worth now if all the money had actually been remitted up to date. The decrease of fund value is of course associated not only with the reduction of members who are retiring, and of course our paying money out of the assets, but also majorly because of the downturn which was explained by the fund manager because of COVID crisis. Thank you. Now moving to the county pension fund, the active members of this scheme, which started basically business from the coming in place of county governments, moved out from 51,075 members in the year ended 31st 2019 to 57,279 as of 31st December 2020. Because we continue to recruit members from the counties, the number is increasing, and I think at the moment, Chair, I think as I briefed you when you were in Membu, the membership of this scheme now has gone beyond 60,000. Now we also decided to cater for our Muslim brethren, and we were able to get permission from RBA to establish a sub-fund within the county pension fund, because we recognize very well that we need, our constitution requires that we don't discriminate any member. So our salary fund actually has got a membership which is also rising, and these are members of staff of county governments who subscribe to the Islamic faith. And the movement is shown also there. Now, again with the county pension fund, Chair, the fund value moved from 13.8 billion in 2019, that's a very big jump, to 19.4 billion at the end of 2020. I can confirm, Chair, that we are actually above 21 billion now, as we are talking about. And this is a fund which I can assure you, Chairman, if only the entire Council of Governors and the county assemblies would have fully embraced it and put all the employees in the scheme, this scheme would be the largest scheme in the country at the moment in terms of size. And we challenge that you, under your leadership, you can make that happen. So that is the movement. The Salif Fund has gone up to the amount we have shown there. You can see the 2.5 billion. Now, this is a fund which only invests in what we call non-ARAM investments, or investments which are cleared by the scholars. And we have scholars who superintend that particular fund. The last scheme, Chair, is where you also sit as a Council of Governors members, including the employees and the employees of County Assemblies Forum, the MCAs, and everybody who is a state officer sits in this fund. This is a county CPF individual pension fund. And the active membership has moved from previously in 2019, 5,989 to actually now 12,315. Again, we do encourage that more of you join this scheme. At the moment, it's just voluntary. So some of the members join by SMS, and I encourage all our listeners out there to dial in and be a member by using the following: *289# on their mobile phones, Safaricom mobile phones. *289#. You can join and start contributing on your phone and be checking your statements online. You don't have to visit any of our offices if you don't want. Move on, thank you. Our focus, okay, I can share a few of our landmark investment projects which are superintended by our fund managers and our board of trustees. Our focus areas for the current strategic period are financial resilience, enhancing investment returns, and efficient and responsive service delivery. In order to build a lasting resilience, the CPF Group must be part of Kenya's evolving economic story. According to Habitat for Humanity, Kenya has an annual housing demand of 250,000 units with an estimated supply of 50,000 units only. We know this story. Therefore, there is a housing deficit of over 2 million or 80% deficit in this country. Even our own members don't have houses. Our staff of county governments are lacking homes. And therefore, we are recognized that we have an obligation to do impact investing so that there's a dual benefit to our members. They benefit from being a member of a pension scheme, but at the same time, they get something back in terms of their own homes. So housing affordability is a key challenge in Kenya with many people unable to afford, buy, or build their own home. It is in light of this and with our objective of meeting our investment goals that we are undertaking the following projects. Anderson of Fafa Affordable Housing Project being our first project we are earmarking for Kisumu County and the environs. It consists of, will be over 1,200 decent and affordable housing units that are designed in line with the national and Kisumu County government affordable housing Big Four agenda. Through real estate and infrastructure projects such as the Anderson of Fafa Affordable Housing Project, the fund will not only unlock and optimize the value of its existing properties, because we have the land there, but will create employment for the thousands of youth across the country. With these projects, scheme members will be given the first right to purchase, further entrenching home ownership among our scheme members while still in employment. That is the, what you call the graphical illustration of the kind of project we are talking about. It has already been impressed by the governor of Kisumu County and the residents of Kisumu County, and we are soon going to launch it. The next one, which we are as a landmark project for this country, Chairman, and we recognize that since we are the custodians of the money of county government employees, we can do something just like the other pension funds which are owned by the banks are doing for their employers as an investment. You find that the pension funds, most of these banks, KCB, APSA Bank, and all the others, their pension funds have invested in the headquarters, which is leased back to their banks. So we are seeking the same thing, that our employers are multi. Our employers are county governments and the national government. So we are saying that we can work for something which also they will be happy about, and they will also give us money, and we are not giving them offices for free. We are going to give them the offices, and they pay the premium price for it, because they need a devolution headquarters called Ukatusi for this country. And that is what I want our members to applaud, that we are not only solving a problem for our government, our county governments, our employer, but also making money in the process. That is the vision of this particular project, Ukatusi Tower. Thank you. Maybe you can show the members the illustration of the, you can move on. That is the dream we have for you, Your Excellency. And we believe Kenya deserves such a magnificent project. You can also move on. Now, Chairman, in doing all the things we are doing for you and for our members, we have actually always tried to be charged by the industry, by the public, and we have been able to run and get awarded by the market, not just by our members. So we won under the pension fund category, under financial reporting, we call it FIRE Awards, a recognition for the county pension fund. We also have been recognized internationally by ISA. ISA is the International Social Security Association body, which is based in Geneva. And we are members as Lab Trust and CPF Group. And I sit as a member of the council at that office, at that house. And we have been recognized in a number of areas. We were recognized in administrative solutions on pension payments. That is, they were very happy to see that we were able to pay our members using a wallet, a pensioner's wallet. And that one is very unique all over the world. The second item which they found very illustrious innovation was green energy. I want to tell you, Mr. Chairman, that in this house where you are now in, 30% of power which we are using now is primarily solar. Yes. And it's something we want to roll out. In fact, the car we use for our movement around in Nairobi is actually an electric vehicle, which we charge in our building, and we encourage our members to actually acquire electric vehicles. So we believe in green technology, and we are rolling it out. So this building, on the rooftop, there is a solar power generation, which is actually the primary power. Whenever we don't even need much power, we don't actually use Kenya Power, we use our solar. So I mean, in other words, solar is primary, Kenya Power is secondary. The same we have done in our pension towers, the building you saw shown here, and the same we have also done in our Freedom Heights Mall, where we do the same. So there are many things which we have done, and therefore the ISI recognized that particular innovation. We also, they also recognized what we call a trust fund. A trust fund chair is a special fund, sub-fund run by our administrator, which takes care of the children of the bereaved members of our schemes. Yes, and we pay school fees. I can assure you that with that fund, which we started a few years ago, members transfer their pension funds and the compensation from insurance into this fund. We call it a Mwamba. So this Mwamba fund has grown from 0 in the last 3 years to over, I think, 700 million now. And it's growing very fast because many people have got problems in terms of managing their next of kin situation. So we protect the children of the person who is bereaved from the challenges around guardianship. Finally, the digital communication platforms we run, and everybody can recognize that we actually communicate with our members live on our digital technology, and of course, our paperless environment. We run a very paperless environment in our offices. Thank you very much. Now, our strategic outlook chair is that we are looking at the 3-year plan, which one, major one, of course, is to collect our debts owed by our employers. And we really want your assistance on that one and the National Treasury. The second one is improving our service provision, really making the customers center of everything. And I want to tell you, Chair, that in our offices across the country, if you visit it, or you call our call center, you will be served so well you can't believe it. Sometimes when people don't believe that we are a public institution, they think we are just a private institution. Enhancing market share. We are growing not only in the public sector, but in the private sector. We have actually just netted new customers recently. One of the new customers we have just brought on board is not only the Athletics Kenya, to bring in the athletes who are our illustrious children who are building this country in many ways, but also the Nairobi Securities Exchange pension scheme have just joined us, one of our new customers. And I think I'm a coffee in a tosha kwa mambo kama haya. Of course, investment returns. We want our members to enjoy the highest investment returns. And the ladies and gentlemen you have seen here doing a good job for us. That's why we have maintained 3 of them, so that they give us, they compete among themselves and give us the best. And as I think I talked about, a response to service delivery. Okay, so can move on. Thank you. I wish to thank the Board of Trustees, of course, these ladies and gentlemen here, for really supporting us as an institution. We have shown that the public sector pension funds can actually do things bigger than was initially assumed. I think for a long time, Chairman, many people misunderstood CPF. They always thought that we are doing something funny. I'm happy that our own service providers, including our auditors, are confirming that this is a well-run organization and no member should doubt this institution. We seek to be the best. And some of the examples we have taken include Singapore. The CPF of Singapore is one of our benchmarks, and also the ABG administration system for Netherlands is one of our benchmarks. And we want this kind of thing to be an issue, something in Kenya. I think I want to say thank you very much for listening to me, and also to my members out there, the thousands and thousands of members listening, plus the members of the public. I hope some of you have joined to be our members through our CPF individual app, website, or even on the mobile phone. Again, I repeat, *289#. Asanteni sana.
*289 hash. Make sure before you leave here, and for those who are watching us at home, take this product up. You don't know how it will fulfill your life. Let's appreciate Mr. Jose Akili for that detailed presentation. And Chair, and also to our chief guest, every time I see Mr. Jose Akili, I see a man who is tried, trusted, and tested. Let's appreciate him one more time. We want to get to the chairman's level, where we will be getting their presentations. So far, so good. We are at close to 1,500 people streaming on Zoom, and the numbers keep climbing also on our Facebook stream. We appreciate you, those who are watching us virtually, and let's keep sending out our questions. We'll be getting to the Q&A session in a short while. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to bring on stage Mr. Maurice Ndurano, who is the chairperson of the CPF Financial Services Board of Directors. He'll be making his remarks on behalf of CPF Financial Services Board of Directors. Asante sana, karibu.
Our chief guest, His Excellency Governor Embu County, Chairperson of the Council of Governors, Martin Wambora, Principal Secretary, Ministry of Devolution and Arid and Semi-Arid Lands, PS Julius Korir, Chairperson of the Lab Trust Board of Trustees, Dr. Kwedo, CPF Group Managing Director, Jose Akili, scheme trustees and stakeholders present, custodians, fund managers, distinguished members of our schemes who are joining us live, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Still morning. Let me welcome warmly all our members and stakeholders who are attending this second virtual AGM via the digital platforms, and those tuned into KTN Home. You're very welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present to you, to speak with you as chairman of the board of directors of the corporate administrator, CPF Financial Services. The year 2020 brought unprecedented challenges in the form of COVID-19, as we're all well aware, which devastated economies, businesses, and individual lives in ways unimaginable. We began 2020 cautiously, optimistic about the future, eager to build on the steady progress we made in 2019 towards meeting our growth and strategic goals. Notwithstanding the market challenges, the board of directors was pleased with the growth momentum achieved in various parts of the corporate administrator's business. However, as we got into 2020, the gravity of the pandemic became apparent, and the board reprioritized its focus and dedicated itself to providing the necessary guidance and governance support to management in order to respond to the pandemic appropriately and with the utmost consideration for our employees and members. I am proud of each of our staff members for their tremendous efforts in these difficult circumstances, without which the corporate administrator would not have accomplished what we were able to accomplish last year. So thank you all to our very dedicated employees. Ladies and gentlemen, good corporate governance is critical to the operations and growth of CPF Financial Services. It defines the process and structure we use to direct and manage the business affairs of an institution with the aim of enhancing corporate accountability and shareholders' long-term value while taking into account the interest of all stakeholders. As a matter of principle, the appointment of the board of CPF is done in a rigorous and effective way to ensure a balanced mix of professional and proficient individuals, such that each of those appointed is able to add value to the company's strategic and policy decision-making process. That said, given that this is my first AGM as chair of CPF Financial Services, allow me to introduce the members of our board. We have Dr. Benedict Mkalama. We have, and I hope we can show their faces, we have Paul Russo. We have Margaret Osure. We have Matilda Kimeto, Isabel Juma, Jose Akili, and Joseph Rono. I am confident, ladies and gentlemen, that we have a skilled and engaged board able to meet the challenges of governing a systemically important financial services institution through these challenging but pivotal times. It is not lost on me, ladies and gentlemen, that during our first year as members of the board, this has also coincided with the rollout of our new 3-year strategic plan. This strategic plan sets the direction for the corporate administrator's business in the coming years, and at its core lies provision of social security to the organization's stakeholders, ensuring clients view CPF Financial Services as a key partner in their operations and in their lives, rather than just as a service provider. Furthermore, the plan further underpins our role as an enabler of the achievement of national and global agendas as described by the government's Big Four agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. We have further redefined our mission, our vision, our core values to reflect our ambition in being the partner of choice across our respective focus areas. Thus, the plan is structured around 4 key pillars that reflect the group's priorities in achieving excellence in service delivery within the dynamic and developing regional environment. Our 4 pillars are: 1, enhancing market reach and expansion; embedding customer centricity, that's 2nd; strengthening people and culture practices. We believe that people are critical in order for us to go where we're going; and lastly, optimizing process efficiency. Banking on the lessons learned over the course of the previous strategic period, we are confident that CPF Financial Services is on the path to even greater growth and prosperity. And looking ahead, we will continue to reinvent our business and realign our priorities to position the corporate administrator as an entity that is fit for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, as a company, we pride ourselves in setting the standard when it comes to pioneering new ways of doing things in the industry. Indeed, innovation is firmly embedded in our DNA as an institution. Throughout 2020, and despite the challenges brought on by the pandemic, we were seamlessly able to transition to our business continuity plan, and technology played a big role in this, as did our robust BCP framework. And this ensured that service delivery continued to our customers uninterrupted, albeit remotely. And as GMD has talked about that. In closing, I am proud to say that much was achieved during the year ended December 31st, 2020. Despite a tough operating environment, CPF Financial Services managed to navigate through a challenging economic context and remained largely robust and poised for greater success in the coming years. We must remember that 2020 was an unparalleled period, and nothing prepared us for what was to come. As a board, we want to thank our stakeholders for undertaking this journey with us, and we want to wish a heartfelt thank you to all of you for the trust you have placed in us and continue to place in us, and we assure you that we will not let you down. We're excited and optimistic about our business moving into the future, and we wish our leadership team and all colleagues across the country incredible success in the year ahead as we build on what we have achieved thus far. So thank you, and God bless you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause to the chairperson, CPF Financial Services Board. A very apt, very switched on guy financially, a Harvard graduate, and also an old boy of Alliance. Well, we want to move to our next presenter, and that is the chairperson of Lab Trust. That is Dr. George Kwedo, who will be presenting the chairman's report. Let's appreciate him as he comes on stage.
The chief guest, His Excellency the Governor, who is also the chair of COG, the Honorable Martin Wambora, the Principal Secretary, Mr. Korir, the board management and staff of the CPF Financial Services, the scheme custodian, fund managers present, members of the pensioners of Lab Trust, very distinguished guests here and away from here, members of the press, and all those who are joining us online. On my behalf, and of course the Board of Trustees for Lab Trust, it gives me great pleasure to present to you this annual report and financial statements for the local authorities pension trust for the year ended the 31st December 2020. It's unfortunate that we are not able to meet in person. However, given the current prevailing circumstances brought about by COVID-19, I am grateful that you were able to join us virtually. Ladies and gentlemen, the Board of Trustees for Lab Trust defined benefit scheme continues to oversee the fund activities and performance in keeping with the mandate and the duty of members. The board aims at ensuring optimum return on investment and prudence in the management of the fund. In the year under review, Kenya's economy has been hit hard by the COVID-19, severely affecting incomes and jobs. The economy was subsequently exposed through dampening effects on the domestic activity of the containment measures that were brought about by the government, and to that effect we've been affected particularly in the area of tourism. These microeconomic factors continue to impact the performance of investments both locally and of course globally. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important to note that Lab Trust, the DB scheme, just as been mentioned by the GMD, is a closed scheme. This actually means that we do not admit new members since the year 2011 in June, as directed by the government. And therefore, the scheme is expected to continue serving the existing members until such a time that the last member retires and their pension is paid out to the last beneficiary. The scheme is therefore expected to continue declining gradually to both the members and also, of course, the fund value. The fund value as at the 31st of December 2020 was at 31.3 billion from 33.1 billion as at the 31st of December 2019. That represents a decline of about 5.14%. There was a corresponding decrease in net assets of Kenya shillings 1.8 billion owing to the low investment performance linked to the COVID-19 crisis and continued retirement of the scheme members, hence the higher payouts. The total unremitting contributions in the year under review stood at 28.3 billion. The Board of Trustees is actively implementing the strategies to ensure that continued improvement so that this position can be reversed by collection of current contributions to arrest any further growth in the debt, as well as initiating discussions with the relevant sponsors and government agencies to ensure full settlement of the outstanding figures. The business remains optimistic that the debt will actually be resolved, and given the various options being explored at both the levels of government. The Board of Trustees remains very optimistic and are responsible for the success of the fund. To this end, the trustees have tasked the corporate administrator with the implementation of the 2021-2023 strategic plan, while retaining the oversight role and the responsibility for its outcome. Despite the challenges faced by the fund in the year under review, the trustees have made a lot of strategies and hard work put in by the corporate administrator as well as the scheme service providers to set the fund on the solid path towards the realization of the long-term objectives. The scheme outstanding debt has been long-standing since over the years, and therefore this period the scheme will dedicate great efforts to ensure that the same is actually resolved. Additionally, the board remains focused on enhancing investment returns, diversifying the scheme's investment portfolio, and the management of costs, as has been shown by the management. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees of LabTrust DB scheme, I take this opportunity to thank our esteemed members, pensioners, and beneficiaries, to whom we owe the privilege to serve. I also extend my appreciation to the scheme's sponsors, who include the county government, the water companies, who have always been with us, and the theatre organizations properly represented here. And at the same time, in the same vein, I also extend my recognition to the industry, the RBA, who has always been with us, giving us the proper direction and continuously steering the industry to excellence for greater good of its members. I wish to thank the corporate administrator, that is the CPF Financial Services, for the great work they continue doing. Finally, I express my gratitude to my colleagues who must be watching at home, the fellow trustees, who have continued to provide leadership and ensure that the scheme continues to thrive and to fulfill the very lives of the members whom we serve. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Bwana Chairman, Dr. Kwedo, for those very insightful remarks and giving us a roadmap of where the board is pushing the organization to. Very insightful remarks there. Asante sana. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to get to a stage where I'll be inviting on stage some of the scheme stakeholders who are joining us for this AGM. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Charles Muiruri, representing County Pensioners Association, Secretary General. Please wave to our viewers back at home. Okay. All right. I'll be calling you shortly. Just have your seat. We also want to acknowledge Water Service Providers Association. We have the chairperson. Actually, we have the CEO representing the chairperson, that is Anthony Ambugo. Karibu sana. Let's appreciate him with a round of applause. We also have County Assemblies Forum chairperson. We are also appreciative of him joining us. We also have Retirement Benefits Authority. We are representing the CEO. We have Caroline Wabwire. Please wave to our viewers back at home. Asante sana. We also have with us the Principal Secretary for Devolution, Julius Correr. Asante for being with us today. And we also have with us Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Peter Lele, the CEO for the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee. Please wave to our viewers back at home. Asante sana. Well, I'd like to bring on stage the next presenter, that is Mr. Charles Muiruri, who will be walking us through a presentation on the county pensioners. Thank you. Karibu.
Our chief guest, His Excellency Martin Wambora, the chairman of COG, the permanent secretary, Mr. Korid, chairman for Lab Trust, Mr. Dr. George Kwedo, chairman for CPF, Mr. Morris Durano, and also the MD for CPF, Mr. Jose Akili. Our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Charles Muiruri, Secretary for County Pensioners Association, and I'll take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to CPF team for organizing this AGM and giving me an opportunity to speak on behalf of our pensioners. Let me also thank members of the County Pensioners Association for their confidence in me and also the committee. Over the years, they've been electing them every 3 years. Ladies and gentlemen, while the year 2020 was without any doubt difficult one for individuals, organizations alike, I have noted that the CPF service delivery to pensioners continued uninterrupted. We appreciate that the Lab Trust Board of Trustees kept its promise to grant all pensioners a pension increase of 3% to cushion members against the effect of COVID-19 pandemic. This also meant that the least pensioner earns now is Kenya shillings 5,000, considering that a few years back, the lowest was getting 400 shillings. We have come from very far. I'm also aware that the CPF gave our members the option of receiving their pension directly through M-Pesa. For those who chose that option, CPF has been remitting their pension directly to their mobile phone via M-Pesa. This has drastically reduced areas of potential exposure to pensioners amid the COVID crisis and has enhanced efficiency receiving their monthly pension. We thank you. On the issue of outstanding debt, it is important that I mention that the Lab Trust scheme continues to grapple with the challenge of outstanding unremitted contribution and the penalties levied on the same, which constitutes the scheme debt. While we understand that the Board of Trustees, where as a pensioners we are represented, has made great strides in preventing further buildup of the debt, we as pensioners insist that all counties must remit the arrears owed to the scheme. Not doing so translate to lower returns of pensioners who have worked hard all their lives to ensure that they have enough tucked away for retirement. If this money was remitted, we are sure that we will be getting increment every year as is provided in the legal notice number 50 of March 2007. We also demand that the Retirement Benefits Authority steps in to assist the scheme in the resolution of this matter through all possible channels. And I know they have now the mandate by the law, they have been mandated by the law to do that. On the matter of transition of Lab Trust under the County Government Retirement Scheme Act, as pensioners, we are concerned about the failure of the County Government Retirement Scheme Act to transition the Lab Trust scheme in the attempt to carry out a merger of the existing schemes. It is unfortunate that the government even contemplates such a move, affecting the lives of over 7,000 pensioners and thousands of members who are still in employment. This act says that we should wind up in 5 years without telling us where we are going. It's as good as telling us you can go to a place I don't want to mention, for I care. Given that the CGR Act has been taken to court, it is now a prayer that such important issues are well addressed before the same can be implemented. In closing, allow me to laud the efforts of our scheme manager, CPF. Your commitment to fulfilling the lives of pensioners is inspiring, and we pensioners are grateful for the support you continue to lend us, especially in the light of the COVID pandemic. I salute our pensioners who are watching us now. Thank you, and congratulations to all the great performance. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you for those remarks. We want to invite on stage Mr. Anthony Ambugo, the CEO for the Water Service Providers Association. Please be on stage. Let's appreciate him as he makes his way on stage.
Thank you, my friend Abi Agina. It's good to meet you here. I've always met you in the newsrooms. Thank you very much. Now, our chief guest, His Excellency Governor Martin Wambora, who is also the chair of COG, the PS Devolution, Chairman, Board of Trustees, and the Board of Trustees of Lab Trust, the CEO, who is also the administrator of the fund. We have the CEO of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee, the CEO COG, fund custodians and other service providers, and members of all schemes. Good morning. Now, I'll be speaking on behalf of our chairman, CPA Michael Mangeli, who is the managing director of Mavoko Sewerage Company and also the chairman of WASPA. Now, WASPA is a conglomerate of 88 water services providers scattered across the diaspora of the Republic, which provides water and sanitation services to 24 million citizens in this Republic. So it gives me great pleasure on behalf of WASPA fraternity and on my own behalf to join you during this AGM. We are well aware that in 2020, the globe was subjected to effects of COVID-19 pandemic, which decimated and truncated economies, plundered institutions, and also led to loss of lives. Despite all these challenges, we are cognizant from the presentation that has been made here that the fund has shown strong performance. We can see this is also attributed to the increased membership, especially if you look at the IPP, the growth moved from 5,000 to 12,000, and the fund grew to around 3.5 billion. So as water service providers, we are very, very happy to be associated with CPF and its affiliates. Our members continue to enjoy a broad array of services, not only in the pension fund, but within the technology space. We are aware we are working with lesser insurance, lesser services, which is also providing technological services. We have insurance services, and our members have benefited. And I think that is good now. Our members, maybe the CEO has left. Our members are covered. We are enjoying the last group expense for all the managing directors and their families in this country. So we continue to pledge that as water services providers, we will continue to support the fund through timely remission of monthly contributions as and when they fall due, because we know the fund provides a very, very fundamental and important role, especially in our lives beyond our working period. The other thing that we would like to raise as water services providers, this has already been alluded here too, is how the County Government's Retirement Scheme Act has been handled. And I think if there is a group that has been disenfranchised by this act, it is good that the chair is here and also the PS. So it is good we put it openly that in Lab Trust we are represented because this is a unique group. As I had mentioned, we have over 11,000 employees in the water sector, serving 24 million Kenyans. So I don't think this is a group that can be ignored. So we realized that under the County Government's Retirement Scheme Act, they were not recognized anywhere. And fundamentally, when it comes to provision of water and sanitation services under Article 77 of the Water Act, the county governments form the company, then they provide that agency through the company. So we fall under the county governments. So it is our persuasion and plea that the government should reconsider both levels of government and open dialogue, because we understand that this is a matter of litigation. But I think man was not made for law, but law was made for man. And this is, at times they say the law is an ass. If it doesn't act the way you want, you whip it. So I believe that the two levels of government can whip it. And this is not a Quran or a Bible that you cannot change. So it's created by man. It's a creature of man. So we can put it into perspective. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my good friend from Water Services. And looking sharp in your counter suit in these hard economic times. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are progressing very well. We want to bring on stage representatives from the Retirement Benefits Authority, and that is Madam Carol Wabwire, to make a few remarks. Thereafter, we'll be inviting Mr. Peter Lele be on standby.
Good afternoon. Before I speak, I'm here on behalf of the Retirement Benefits Authority, and I'd like to send sincere apologies from our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Nzomo Mutuku. He would have loved to be here today, but unfortunately he's not able to be present here with you because of other engagements. But with me here today, I have my head of department, and I'll just recognize him. His name is Mr. Charles Mashira. Maybe he can just wave. He let me speak on behalf of the authority. Now, Chief Guest, His Excellency Martin Wambora, the Chair of Council of Governors, Mr. Julius Korir, Principal Secretary, Ministry of Devolution, Dr. Kwevo, Chair Board of Trustees, Lab Trust, and all the other trustees, NatBank Trustee Services Limited, who are the trustees of the County Pension Fund and CPF Individual Scheme, Mr. Nduranu, the Chair of Board of Directors of CPF Financial Services Limited, and all the other directors, Mr. Jose Akili, Group Managing Director, CPF Financial Services, the management and staff of CPF, distinguished guests, sponsors, members, and service providers, good afternoon. As I said, this is a speech from our CEO. I'm indeed happy to join you this day for the CPF Group AGMs. Let me at the outset thank the trustees of the three schemes and the administrator, CPF Financial Services Limited, for convening these AGMs and for extending an invitation to the Retirement Benefits Authority. It is a requirement under the Retirement Benefits Regulations that schemes hold an annual general meeting. So these schemes are actually complying with a provision of law for their members to enable them receive reports on their schemes and to also ask questions. A big thank you goes to our chief guest, Honorable His Excellency Mr. Wambora, for gracing this occasion. Your presence here is testament that counties acknowledge saving for retirement as an important agenda in their business. I'm also pleased that, Mr. Korir, you could take time off your busy schedule to be here with us and witness first-hand discussions on matters relating to the retirement benefit sector and to the CPF retirement group schemes, of which you're a trustee of one of them. To the members of LAP Pension Scheme, the County Pension Fund, and the individual scheme who have tuned in through different channels to participate in this AGM, asante sana. Remember, as members, this is an opportunity for you to get first-hand information on your schemes, to interrogate the various reports, and to ask questions. We encourage members to always take a keen interest in their scheme affairs and to participate actively at such forums. To the service providers present, we thank you and appreciate the role you actively play in the retirement benefits sector. Through your expertise, professionalism, and innovation, we have continued to witness significant growth of the sector even during challenging times. Ladies and gentlemen, last year, the authority took cognizance of the impact of the pandemic to the retirement benefits industry and the measures taken by the government to contain the spread of the disease. We initiated measures such as allowing suspension of contributions upon application by distressed schemes, relaxing some of the compliance obligations by schemes, and further advise trustees to explore alternative means of holding meetings, including the use of technology. Schemes have since then adopted this technology for holding AGMs. We applaud CPF. They took the step and were among the first schemes to actually hold a virtual AGM, taking cognizance of the wide coverage and the number of members they have. Further, schemes have also adopted electronic voting, and we have witnessed through this means that there has been a reduction in travel time and expenses that would have been incurred by members traveling from far-flung parts of the country to exercise their voting rights. Whereas there have been concerns on the limited interactions during these virtual AGMs, take note that these are only temporary measures aimed at ensuring the safety of members by avoiding large physical gatherings, while at the same time ensuring the businesses of schemes continue. We believe the situation shall be reviewed once the situation in the country improves. Ladies and gentlemen, since its inception 20 years ago, the Retirement Benefits Authority, which is commemorating its 20th anniversary, has overseen the retirement benefits industry and enjoyed the support of you, the industry stakeholders. We have observed the fluctuations of the financial markets, celebrating the peaks and paying keen attention to the effects of the lows. Our stakeholders have inculcated good governance principles in management of retirement benefit schemes, even as we take note of the demands and keen interest by members in affairs of their schemes. We celebrate the various innovations in the industry that have resulted in new products and services. We are celebrating introduction of umbrella schemes such as the County Pension Fund, which bring together small employers or multi-sectoral employers to provide an avenue for saving for retirement. We introduce the good governance guidelines as authority to ensure that schemes are managed properly. Just as we would wish blue chip companies to be managed, we expect schemes to run as blue chip companies. We introduced the Trustee Development Program, Kenya, so trustees are now required to undertake a program where they're examined before they begin to take on their role as trustees. Bwana Kwetha and your trustees, I hope you have attended the training and have successfully completed it and passed. Today, despite the ravaging effects of the pandemic, the retirement benefits industry has remained relatively resilient and continued to report growth. At the end of December 2022, the overall retirement benefits assets under management stood at close to 1.4 trillion, an increase by about 7.76% from 1.29 trillion in December 2019. The growth declined from 11.29% witnessed between December 2018 and December 2019. And this is attributable to the effects of the pandemic on the labor and financial markets. Pension fund values were eroded, we saw withdrawals due to job losses and applications by some employers to suspend contributions for a period of time. The investment returns equally declined due to a depressed economy and financial markets. Arising from these shocks, schemes adopted a more conservative approach to investing, increasing the exposure in government securities and government and guaranteed funds, as opposed to quoted equities to mitigate the ensuing risk arising from excessive stock market volatility. We are hopeful that the industry will be stable this year after the COVID shocks. I think we had the fund manager reporting that we're expecting this year to be a better year. We have already witnessed the stability in the banking sector with reports released by the banks in the first quarter showing tremendous improvement in their performance. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue to carry on the interests of members, including pensioners, in our decisions through introduction of new and exciting innovations in response to some of the challenges identified through research findings and other stakeholder engagement forums. For instance, in response to the challenges of healthcare financing in retirement, we developed and gazetted regulations on post-medical retirement fund. Members can now, in addition to their contributions for retirement, make additional voluntary contributions towards catering for their medical needs in retirement. Equally, we introduced the recent retirement benefits mortgage regulations to allow members to access part of their accumulated benefits to purchase a residential house. This is timely because it comes at a time when the government has embarked on fulfilling its agenda of affordable housing, which members can benefit from. Retirement benefit schemes also have an opportunity to contribute to this agenda. I think CPF has already talked about their project in Kisumu by coming up with housing projects to benefit members. You will realize that all these initiatives are geared towards ensuring that members of schemes realize more benefits towards saving for retirement. In addition, this will go a long way in reducing part of the expenditure item for pensioners, which is rent, as has been identified by previous pensioner surveys. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot close my remarks without making some brief remarks about your schemes. The three schemes, namely Lab Trust DB scheme, County Pension Fund, and the CPF individual scheme, remain largely compliant with the provisions of the Act and regulations. Some of the requirements in the Act include that this scheme submit to us returns annually, quarterly, triannually, and for these schemes we can confirm that they have always submitted those returns on time. We indeed imposed a penalty, and I don't think we have penalized any of them for failing to provide these reports on time. They have also continued to witness growth, with the following being some of the highlights. We have been told about the successes of the scheme. We've seen the County Pension Fund assets grow from only about 324 million in December 2014 to now 19 billion. The CPF individual scheme, which commenced operations in January 2014, had assets of just 71 million at the end of that year. Their assets have since grown to 3.5 billion. For the Lab Trust DB scheme, the assets were 3 billion in 2001, and we have seen that those assets are now gone up to 31 billion. We commend the sponsors and members who make contributions to these schemes, the trustees who manage the schemes, and service providers for their various roles in investment, administration, and ensuring safe custody of scheme assets. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the impressive growth, we continue to grapple with instances where a number of counties and water companies owe huge debt to these schemes. Bwana Government, I think you've had the various pleas that counties need to help us in this area. We have also noted a further decline in the funding level of assets for the DB scheme from 80.4 in June 2016 to 78.3 in December 2018. This situation is indeed worrying, and urgent action needs to be taken to ensure that the schemes remain in healthy financial positions. We note that the trustees have been in constant communication with the defaulters with a view to settling the outstanding debt, and have entered into agreements with some of them. The authority has further taken its supervisory role and written to the defaulters and noted action by some of the defaulters who have gone ahead and settled outstanding debt. We also note that through the goodwill of trustees, members continue to receive their benefits timely, and this has averted a crisis of people going into retirement without their benefits. I think they deserve a clap. However, this is only a temporary measure which will not be sustainable as the debt continues to accrue. We applaud those sponsors who have continued to ensure timely remittance of contributions. We further urge sponsors who have outstanding debt to fully comply with the timelines on remittance of contributions to schemes and make it a priority to avoid unnecessary supervisory action as provided in law. Bwana Governor, the debts by the counties to these schemes are huge. The debts also accrue interest. We urge you kindly, together with other governors, to prioritize settlement of these debts. I'm sure you will send that message to the other governors. We reiterate the remarks by the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury, for settlement of pending bills. It is only then that we can be assured that our schemes will remain financially sound and able to meet their greatest liability, which is payment of retirement benefits. With respect to the DB scheme, the scheme has investment in property which has exceeded the allowable limit under the retirement benefits investment guidelines. The scheme has submitted a remedial plan with measures on how it intends to reduce the exposure in property assets, and we are closely monitoring the implementation of the plan, and the scheme is required to report progress reports to us. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I saw the timer go on and off, so I'm concluding now. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot walk alone. We must work together. We have seen the commitment of working together with the presence of Bwana Governor today, the PS of Devolution, and the PS of Treasury, who we had also expected here, but we understand he had other commitments that came in later. The water service providers, the County Pensioners Association, and all of you present here. It is only by working with you and working closely with you and other stakeholders that we can develop the industry. We have a responsibility to ensure the safety of retirement benefits, even as we endeavor for an inclusive, secure, and growing retirement benefit sector. This is our vision at the authority. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, as we leave here today, I want all of us to ponder some few questions. They're very deep questions, simple but very deep. Have you adequately prepared for your retirement? And we may look at retirement as retirement at 60, statutory. We may look at it at retirement as the time our term expires as governors. Or we could look at it as retiring from Generation X and Y at 40. So at whatever time you choose to retire, the question is, have you prepared adequately for retirement? Do you know how much income you will need in retirement? Anyone knows how much income they will need? Somebody. Now, your income is expected to be about 70% of your last salary. So if you are earning about 100,000 pre-retirement, then at post-retirement, we would expect you to get about 70,000. So I don't know whether you have looked at your statement and are working towards ensuring that you have the much needed income in retirement. Now, you could have the income and you're financially stable, but are you psychologically ready to retire? Do you know how you will handle not going to work? It's very important that we think about all things. What impact will retirement have on your family? Are you going back to the village where you have only been visiting once on Christmas, and now you have to engage with the people who have been there and you have to learn their ways? So those are just a few questions that I wanted you to ponder. Simple but weighty issues. It does not matter the age. We have the choice of when to retire, but it matters that we experience an enjoyable and rewarding retirement when we get there. Asanteni sana, God bless you all, and keep safe.
Wow, very profound remarks. Will you be going to the village? Ama tutakwamilia Nairobi. Wow, and that's why we have this very important AGM where we are giving our members opportunities to see areas that they can invest in and get decent returns. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite on stage the CEO for the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee, Mr. Peter Lele. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gina. Our chief guest today, the chairman of COG and governor of Embu, His Excellency Martin Wambora, our PS for devolution, Mr. Julius Korir, the chairman of CPF and trustees and CEO, colleagues CEOs who are here, distinguished members of CPF and affiliate institutions. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, my name is Peter Lele. I have come to this occasion as a stakeholder in the devolution family to represent IGRTC, and I wish to take this early opportunity to congratulate CPF for returning a very impressive performance, especially in the fund value and growth in a very difficult financial year. This is really inspiring for us. It is showing that even in the middle of this pandemic, our institutions have not been affected. And from where we stand as IGRTC, we spearheaded the exercise of identifying, verifying, and validating the assets and liabilities in respect of the defunct local authorities, the total 175 of them. And we were privileged to work together. And this included actuarial deficits and remitted returns and other liabilities that may really interest CPF. And I'm glad to report that that exercise was successfully concluded. Our final report and inventory was submitted in IBEC and Summit, and the liquidation options that had been recommended by ourselves have been approved for utilization, including yourself for trying to resolve and assisting to resolve the liabilities that are there. I want to assure CPF that IGRTC will work along with you as you try to seek to liquidate those liabilities and all those debts that have been accumulated over time. I also want to assure you and the members of CPF that the journey for a common pension fund is still there. From where we sit in the summit and other institutions, we are still working together, hopeful that in the future we will have one consolidated pension fund and that can benefit the devolution family as a whole. Without taking too much, I want to congratulate you most sincerely, Mr. Keeley. This stewardship is not easy. As stakeholders, we have felt your hand. Even as we go to the next devolution conference, we have seen the presence of you representing these members, and we are truly grateful. Thank you very much, and congratulations again for returning such an impressive performance in a difficult time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lele, for your remarks, and they are very brief and to the point. Asante sana. We want to now get to the near climax of our event today, our AGM, and I'm delighted to also acknowledge that we have the Director in charge of pensions, Michael Kagika, from the National Treasury. Please wave to our viewers. Or you can just stand kindly. Tunaomba ukuje hapa mbele uonekane kidogo.
Very well. Thank you, Excellency Wabora, Chair COG, the Principal Secretary, Devolution, Korea, the two chairpersons of LAP Trust and CPF. Those of us in the pension industry, I greet you all this afternoon. And indeed, it also gives us pressure from the National Treasury to join you during your AGM It is a glad occasion, and we are here also to affirm the commitment of the National Treasury on behalf of the entire government in supporting the growth of the pension sector. We all appreciate the value retirement benefits play in old age especially. Reason why, even when we have had to go through tough times, you've seen the National Treasury take measures that supported the pension funds, especially with the concessions in tax and allowing through RBA, the regulator, that period when you could defer the remittances. I am also sure that all of us did take cue from the speech the Cabinet Secretary gave during the budget delivery in Parliament, and the commitment he made, especially so for the remittances that are outstanding, more so from the county government. And I think there is every desire in government to ensure that remittances to pension funds are availed, because that's the only way we can secure and ensure that we are able to fund the benefits that we are going to require once we retire. I know my PS had been invited, and I am also so sure that he'll be sharing what he had intended to share at this forum. I know he will distribute his remarks, so I will leave it at that. But let me affirm that the National Treasury, we are committed to giving the industry a policy that will make sure we thrive under all the circumstances. Resilience must be the word for all the schemes. May God be kind to CPF with the good work you continue to do. May God bless the pensioners of this republic. And I can also tell you that as basically the repository of the public pensions, we at the National Treasury, we also delve to do our best. We collaborate very well with the county schemes, because just like us who are dealing with mainstream public service, the county services are also mainstream public sector. So we will continue doing what we must do together to make sure we grow this industry to bigger heights. God bless you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting to the climax of our event today, and I'd like to bring on stage the CEO for the County Pension Funds to invite our next speaker, who will be the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Devolution, Mr. Julius Korir.
Thank you so much, Abby. I've come back to just address this membership on behalf of the County Assemblies Forum, who are the chairman, Honorable Ndegwa, who was on his way here but has been asked to meet the Director General of KRA, so that unfortunately he was not able to come to the meeting. And we are also unable to connect their office to speak to the membership. But I want to say on behalf of CAF, who are very strong and very important stakeholders, that the CAF Secretariat are members of our pension fund. The county assemblies across the country are also members of county pension fund, as well as the CPF individual pension fund. And a trustee who is the speaker for Meru County Assembly, Honorable Joseph Kaberia, sits in the board of Lab Trust on behalf of the County Assemblies Forum. So unfortunately, because of technology challenges, we are not able to connect Honorable Kaberia, who has been tasked to speak urgently on behalf of County Assemblies. So please receive their greetings and their full support, and they are very much part and parcel of our community of stakeholders. Thank you very much. And with those remarks, I would like now to ask you to welcome with me the Principal Secretary for Devolution, Mr. George Julius Korir to come here and give his remarks. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Our chief guest, Honorable Your Excellency Martin Wambura, the Governor for Embu, and also the Chairman of Council of Governors, the Chairperson for the Lab Trust Board of Trustees, Dr. Ukwedo, Chairman of CPF Financial Services, Bwana Morris Nduranu, the CEO of Lab Trust, that is Bwana Jose Akili, CEO IGRTC, Bwana Lelei, the members of the Lab Trust, county pension funds and individual pension funds, scheme trustees who are here with us, custodians and fund managers, and distinguished delegates. It gives me a great pleasure and honor for me to join you all here today as we progress virtually, as we congregate virtually for the CPF Schemes Annual General Meeting for the year 2020. I take this opportunity to thank the CPF Group Managing Director, Jose Akili, for his invitation, and also acknowledge and congratulate the present and past trustees, as well as the management for the prudent management of the schemes over the years. I think as I join the trustees, I have a lot to learn from these members who have done a great job listening on the results of the fund and looking at the progress it has made over the years. I think it is an enormous task, and I also look forward to giving my best as we all work together as a team. We at the Ministry of Devolution and ASAL fully understands the array of opportunities that pension funds present to the prospects of the strengthening of devolution in our country in the current constitutional dispensation. This is born from the realization that effective social security policies can contribute to improving the environment for socio-economic growth in the country. We recognize that discussions on public policy must now include pension funds more prominently. It is now a mainstreamed fact that the effective social security policies can contribute to the improving the environment of economic growth in the country. And I think it is, if you look at the investment structure of the fund, you see most of it goes to government, and it is through that that the government is able to implement quite a number of its development infrastructure. And so this is a very indirect contribution from the funds and also the pensioners that you help to build the country. Owing to the rise in the national incidence of poverty, the provision and care of government can provide to elderly citizens is severely limited by low incomes. Notwithstanding the fact that some of the now retired persons held employment which with reasonable incomes, they are often unable to maintain their standards of living upon their retirement due to the lack of proper retirement planning. Naturally, the challenges that this process calls for the intervention by all of us gathered here today. I think starting early to contribute to your retirement is a sure way making sure that as an individual, when we retire, we will be able to maintain the same living standards we did while we were working and energetic. You also know at old age, health becomes an issue. Agility is not there, so you would need some form of income to be able to maintain your standards and also just to keep yourself well. To this end, as the government seeks to support institutions to prosper and better the nation's economic standing, it is only fair that institutions support the government in achieving its set objective. I wish, therefore, to thank the CPF for not only supporting the Big Four agenda, but also the lead role they have taken in shaping the industry. I think you've heard that most funds are actually trying to emulate what the CPF has done. Ladies and gentlemen, Article 6(2) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 expressly settles for a cooperative as opposed to competitive system of devolved government system or of devolved government, which necessitate cooperation, cooperative intergovernmental relations. The cooperative form of a devolved government combines a certain measure of autonomy on the part of each of the two levels of government with a measure of joint and collaborative action and decision making by the two levels of government. I am pleased to note that the G48, that is the Ugatuzi Tower, which is an investment of the County Pension Fund and LAPTRA schemes, will provide centralized location that will facilitate consultation, co-decision making, coordination, and support to all devolution stakeholders. I'm even more pleased that the Ministry of Devolution will be keen to have a liaison office within this magnificent building in a bid to create a more enabling environment for strengthening devolution. In line with this, I urge the Board of Trustees to continue conceptualizing more projects geared towards helping the government solve some of the existing challenges, even as they make fair returns to the scheme members. I appreciate that CPF pension funds continue to grapple with challenges of outstanding and remitted contributions, which constitutes scheme's debt. We commit to engage with the National Treasury and the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee with a view to having the debt settlement agreement in place and effectively realize this outstanding members' contribution to the various funds. And I think I would wish to report that there is an initiative now to have the issue that is in court settled out of court in an amicable manner, that Treasury and the stakeholders will sit down to look at the regulations that are bringing conflict so that they can be sorted out and give the autonomy that is desired, that will also help in growing the fund and into greater heights, and also making the members be safe. I think I heard from the representative from the water bodies, they are very passionate in that and wish to assure that we are working towards that. In closing, I'd like to point out that while we appreciate that we have to do much more to ensure our people are both covered and have access to social security, our approach to this must not only reflect best practices, but ought to embrace and harness at its core the spirit and culture of innovation. Only then shall we set ourselves apart and remain firmly on the road to prosperity. I take this opportunity to thank all the esteemed partners and stakeholders. I assure you that together we will set CPF schemes steady on the path to greater growth and prosperity. The ministry again remains steadfast in supporting the CPF for the welfare of all its members. Thank you and God bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bwana PS, for your very apt remarks. I'd like to invite CPF CEO, Group CEO, to invite our chief guest as we prepare to also go to the award ceremony. As you can see, a lot of expectations from our viewers back at home. Over to you, Bwana Kili.
Now, members and our distinguished guests, I think it's our pleasure to have a very important man in our midst, none other than the chairman of the Council of Governors, who has taken responsibility to be with us this morning and this afternoon. Thank you. Well, let's welcome him as he comes to give us his remarks.
Asanteni sana. Good morning. Good afternoon. I have noticed you are awake. The chairpersons of RAP Trust Board of Trustees, Dr. George Kwendo, the CPF Group Managing Director and CEO, Hosea Akili, my dear friend, PS Devolution, Julius Coril, the representative of National Treasury PS, members of RAP Trust, representatives of CEO Retirement Benefits Authority, I'm happy you have been answered by the PS devolution. The chairman of Water Services Provider Association. Chairman, don't worry. We shall revisit the issue of what is bothering you, that offending act. Shall revisit. The scheme's trustees, custodians, fund managers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, those who are present and those who are participating virtually, good afternoon. May I begin by appreciating all the speakers who have actually made a very great presentations, and also our MC, our very able professional MC. Thank you very much for officiating this very well. It's a great pleasure and honor to me to join you today as we congregate for CPF Schemes Annual General Meeting. First, I would like to thank the CPF leadership for ensuring that this important meeting takes place virtually. This is the second virtual AGM, and I commend you for leveraging on technology in order to ensure that this very important event is in schemes corridor. It has happened. Ladies and gentlemen, 2020 was a very difficult year for the world and for Kenya in particular. At the same time, it was a year that spanned innovation and collaboration. I'm pleased to know that the CPF continued to prove its value in a very demanding environment. I take note that the County Pension Fund continues to grow from strength to strength, a fact that is best illustrated by the growth in the fund values as well as the scheme's membership. I'm also happy to report that since the adoption of the County Pensions Fund as a continuing uniform pension scheme for employees and officers of the county government, we have not only largely eliminated wasteful competition, but we have also harmonized the processes at the county government level and leveraged on the economies of scale to the benefit of the members. Ladies and gentlemen, current projections estimate that over 86% of Kenyans do not have access to pension and retirement benefits. Additionally, the Kenya National Bureau of Standards indicates that over 50% of Kenyans currently live below the poverty line. In fact, pension coverage in Kenya remains low and largely covers the formal workforce, which is in itself a very small percentage of the economically active population. I beseech the scheme not to tire in its efforts to embrace digitization and innovative strategies in order to ensure as many Kenyans as possible are covered in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, the pressures of globalization means that countries must begin to facilitate development through pooling local investment. And one of the best vehicles is through pensions fund. Owing to this realization and growing size of retirement benefit funds in developed countries, the discussion on public policy in the financial sector must now include retirement benefits more prominently. In line with this, we at the Council of Governors are excited about the partnership with the CPF and how it has yielded and continues to yield fruit. The most notable of this is the G48 Ugatuzi Tower. The project will seek to promote inter-county consultations while providing a centralized housing for handling all devolution-related matters. Many county governments continue to spend millions in rent across different offices in Nairobi for their liaison activities. This one-stop shop for all the devolution partners indeed presents a great opportunity for not only streamlining service delivery, but also saving taxpayers' money in the near future. The Council of Governors remains committed to being one of the first stakeholders to acquire space in this unique development. In closing, the Council of Governors remains steadfast in supporting the scheme for the welfare of all the members, for members in active employment and for our esteemed pensioners who have been represented here today by the Secretary General. The Council of Governors staff also remain beneficiaries of the administration of these gratuity and welfare funds in an efficient manner by CPF, which I also encourage other officers to emulate. While the COVID-19 pandemic continues to affect social life of Kenyans and increases the number of poor and vulnerable households, I choose to remain optimistic in the leadership commitment to drive the fund's ambitious growth objectives with a key focus on membership growth and prudent investment as they are doing. As I conclude, therefore, may I assure you all of COG's, Council of Governors assurance to seek to bridge the gap between policy development and effective programs on the ground. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. May God bless you. Asante.
Another round of applause to our chief guest, His Excellency Martin Wambora. Thank you for the endorsement, and I look forward to working closely with the COG as well. And very important remarks he has made in regards to the counties and their participation in this very important AGM. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite our group CEO to give a token of appreciation to our chief guest as we transition to our next event, that will be the award ceremony. I'd like them to come on stage, kindly. Let's appreciate them with a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana CEO and our chief guest, as well as our chair, Asanteni sana. We want to quickly move to our next session, and this is the award ceremony, where we'll be recognizing some of the very important players in this industry when it comes to leading by example as well as delivering value. And I'd like to hand over to my co-host. This is Madam Irene Mbonge from the CPF team. She'll be handling this next session, where we'll be having our ushers also on standby to come with the trophies, and we'll allow our chief guests to give out 2, and we'll also allow our chairperson as well as our group CEO. Over to you, Madam Irene.
Thank you very much, Abby. I'll just go straight into recognizing our sponsors who have performed exemplary well under the circumstances. And we have various categories, and I will just recognize number 3 to 1. We will have the trophy for the first position, and it will be received on their behalf by ushers who are on standby. For this first category, I will call upon the Lab Trust DB Scheme Chairperson to be up on the stage to assist with awarding the same. And for the first category, that is the award for the most consistent in remitting current contributions. The second runners-up position goes to Kisumu County. Kisumu County, thank you very much. The first runners-up position goes to Narok County. Well done, Narok County, for that good performance. And the first position goes to Kitui County. Chairman, please help us hand over the trophy for Kitui County in recognition for being the most consistent in remitting current monthly contribution.
A big round of applause to Kitui County. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I will now call upon our CEO to handle the next category. Mr. Kili, please. And for the second category, this is still the most consistent in remitting monthly contributions, but this is for the water companies. And the second runners-up position goes to Meru Water and Sewerage Company. Meru Water and Sewerage Company, a clap for them.
Let's appreciate them.
The first runners-up position goes to Isiolo Water and Sanitation Company. Isiolo Water and Sanitation Company, well done. And the first position goes to Gatundu Water and Sanitation Company. The trophy goes to Gatundu Water and Sanitation Company.
Congratulations,
Congratulations, Gatundu. Well done, and keep it up.
Let's appreciate them, ladies and gentlemen.
It's very important for sponsors to remain current in remitting their monthly contributions so that we avoid the build-up of pension liability that contributes to the debt we've had being mentioned here today. So thank you very much. Well done to those counties. I'll move on to the third category. And these are the counties that are doing well in contributing their gratuity for the state officers. That is our individual pension scheme. Again, it's for consistency in remitting that monthly gratuity for the state officers. And the second runners-up position goes to Trans Nzoia County. All the way from Western, Trans Nzoia County, well done. We appreciate that effort. The first runners-up position, we cross the country to Lamu County. Lamu County, we appreciate you. And the first position for this category goes to Nyandarua County. Nyandarua County. I call upon the CPF Financial Services Board of Chair Board of Directors to come and award this position. Nyandarua County, makofi kwa Nyandarua County.
Congratulations, Nyandarua County.
Now I will move to the fourth category. And I will call upon the chairperson, Council of Governors, to award for us these remaining two categories, being very important. Karibu Bwana Governor, to the front. So the first category on that line is the award for the most consistent in membership growth. Membership growth is really what has brought us to where we are today as CPF Financial Services for all three schemes. So we have the second runners-up position going to Nandi County. Finally, we have a representative of the Rift Valley, Nandi County. Well done.
Well done, Nandi County.
Do we have the first runners-up position goes to Meru County. The Mount Kenya region well represented there. And the first position goes to Samburu County. Samburu County has given us the most members in the financial year 2020. Congratulations, Samburu County.
Well done, Samburu County. Makofi tafadhali.
Congratulations are in order. Sorry, Your Excellency, I will request you just stay on. You're doing the remaining category as well. And these are the county assemblies. The county assemblies that have given us a lot of members in the year ended. The second runners-up position goes to Bomet County Assembly. Bomet County Assembly, well done. We recognize that. The first runners-up position goes to Kilifi County Assembly. Yeah. Kilifi County Assembly, and the first position for the county that gave us the most members in the year is Nairobi County Assembly. Nairobi County
Congratulations,
Assembly.
Nairobi County.
Congratulations are in order.
0047. 047. County 047.
County Assembly 047. Well done. And the final award, Your Excellency, This is for the overall winner. When we look at all the parameters, that is consistency in growth of membership and in remittance of contribution, timely remittance of contribution. And for this, we look at counties that remit by 10th of every month. The overall winner goes to Samburu County Government.
Samburu!
Samburu crowns it all.
Congratulations.
So they get the biggest trophy. Congratulations, Samburu County Government. We need a more celebratory rhythm for that. They deserve it, don't they?
Congratulations to Samburu County.
Well done.
Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you much. I'll give way back to Abby Agina. I think we are done with that session. Thank you very much. Over to you, Abby.
Thank you as well, my co-host Irene Mbonge from CPF Financial Services. Let's appreciate her for running us through this very important ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to now get into a Q&A session where we'll be calling upon our high table to respond to some of the questions being asked on our various platforms, that is including Zoom, as well as on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll just take a few questions because of time, and we'll definitely be responding to most of the other questions as we progress. Allow me to quickly take the questions. The first question is being asked, do pensioners need to keep coming to Nairobi to get their pension once they retire? This is from James Peter Ndwiga. He's asking Mr. Kili to address this question. The second question is from Kenneth Auma. He's asking, is the Anderson Ofafa housing project in Kisumu still on course? Can I direct my payment lump sum to a deposit for it? Thank you, Kenneth. We appreciate your question. We also have another question here from George Okioma. Sorry, not from George Okioma, but that is the person the question is being addressed to. We have a question saying, what's causing delayed remittances by sponsors? My statement shows gaps in some months, yet payslip has been deducted. This question is addressed to George Okioma. Finally, a question here for the CPF as well. What is the status of the CGRS bill? Are we safe as members with the proposed mergers? Alex Nzuki from Machakos, thank you very much for your question. I'd like to allow our chairperson to respond to some of these questions, considering that our CEO has escorted our chief guest. And I'd like you to take to the podium to respond to these questions very briefly. But let's begin with George Okioma, kindly. If you can quickly respond to this question.
Thank you for the question. What is causing the delays and the gaps in the statement? What normally happens is once we receive the contributions, we have to record them in respect of the month that we have received them. And therefore, whenever you have gaps, then it means deductions were made, but then they were not remitted to us. Unfortunately, we have to recognize that, such that we are able to keep track of the day when they are then made, then we have to update the statement. It's unfortunate, and I think then what we are doing, I'm sure you must have seen every month, whenever contributions come in, we always acknowledge through an SMS that actually we've received your contributions. If you don't receive that SMS, then it means your contributions, if they may have been deducted, then they have not been remitted. But we're working together with the respective employers to ensure that actually there is timely remittance, and then we are always updating the statements as at and when the contributions come in. Thank you.
Thank you for that. We have a question here that I'd like to recap to CPF Group CEO, Mr. Kili. Do pensioners need to keep coming to Nairobi to get their pension once they retire? Please respond to this as our last question. We have to wrap it up.
Thank you very much, esteemed pensioner. I think that is a question which has been answered by performance. All our members, when they retire, they go back wherever they live, and they don't have to come to Nairobi at all. One, if there is any issue of confirming that you are still around to enjoy your pension, we now provide two ways of doing it. One, through our agency banking system with the bank you bank with, we are able to arrange for you to go and confirm that at the agency or at the bank branch, wherever you are, and in the bank where your money comes through. So your money comes to you through your bank account, for those who are using bank accounts. And for those who are using, who want to use M-Pesa, of course, they get it at home wherever they are. So you really don't have to come to Nairobi at all. But if you want to visit us, of course, we don't refuse. You can visit any of our 9 branches across Kenya, Kisumu, Eldoret, Nakuru, Nyeri, everywhere. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Bwana MD, for adequately responding to that question. We have a final question here where it was a very important question touching on the Ofafa housing project. Perhaps let me just retrieve it again. There's a question here directed to you, Bwana CEO. Is the Anderson Ofafa housing project in Kisumu still on course? Can I direct my payment lump sum to a deposit for it? Kenneth Auma is asking that question. Please respond in brief.
Thank you very much. As presented here today, we are on course to develop Anderson Estate. And we encourage our members to begin saving money to buy or to deposit to acquire those houses. We, as CPF Group and the Lab Trust in particular, we have always delivered on our promise. When we promised that we are going to build our Freedom Heights, it was done, and it's actually, people have been buying homes there. When we promised that we are going to put up houses in Karen, we have done it, and we are actually living there now. And when we say we're going to build a school in Eldoret, the school is actually running. So again, we have promised that we are going to do the Anderson Estate and other estates across the county government's headquarters, where we are able to work with partners, not just our pension funds, but other external partners, including pension funds from the overseas, to work with us. That again will happen. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you. Thank you, Bwana Gina.
Thank you, Bwana CEO. We appreciate your candidness. And with your permission, Bwana CEO, we have the Speaker of Vihiga in the building, Madam Honorable Hasna Mbone Mudeizi. She can come and briefly say jambo in less than a minute because we need to wrap up our forum today. Thank you. Let's appreciate her as she comes on stage.
Thank you. The chief guest, the distinguished guest, CEO, members, ladies and gentlemen. First, I want to appreciate, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I didn't expect to say anything, but I want to appreciate the Lab Trust family. I want to say that as county assemblies, we are keen on ensuring that we support the pension policies that should be there, the payments. I feel jealous when people were receiving awards. My county assembly did not. We want to say that we'll pull up our socks, but the intention is clear. We are objective. It's something that all county assemblies are appreciating because pension is key to all of us. It touches on our lives after retirement, and the fact that there are so many other advantages that have come with the amendment of the Pension Act, that you can use your pension to use for mortgage purposes. So it is something that is key to all of us as a society. So I want to say thank you, Lab Trust and family. And I appreciate for the moment you've given me to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for making time. We want to get to the last stage of our event, where we'll be inviting Irene one more time to give us a vote of thanks, and then we'll have one of our own to come and close for us with a word of prayer. Thank you, Irene.
Thank you, Abby. I'll not take long. I just want to appreciate all of our members and stakeholders logged in from many platforms that we are running on. We are on Zoom, we are on Facebook Live, we are on YouTube, we are on Twitter, we are on all the platforms. Thank you very much. You have indeed been very interactive throughout the 3 hours we've been sharing with you the performance of the schemes for the past 1 year. We appreciate all those watching from KTN home and the KTN crew for facilitating that. Thank you very much. Our sincere appreciation to our chief guests, His Excellency Governor Martin Wambora, who is the Governor Embu County and Chair Council of Governors. We do not take it for granted that you made the time to be with us. I also wish to appreciate our PS, Ministry of Devolution, PS Julius Korir, for making the time, and all our guests, all our stakeholders, including the regulator, our Board of Trustees representatives, our Board of Directors representatives, all our service providers, the auditors, PwC, Deloitte, the fund managers and custodians who shared with us their reports earlier. We appreciate all the effort that has gone into putting this event together to bring our members up to speed, really. At CPF, we pride ourselves in being trailblazer in the industry and in maintaining transparency and accountability to our members. And that's why we are here today. And we wish to thank all who participated in making this event a success. I wish to thank the technical team, especially, and the CPF staff for working tirelessly to make sure we all receive the feed from the various platforms. I will now call upon our head of SALI, our Sharia compliant product, that is Hussein Abdullahi, to close the meeting with a word of prayer. Thank you very much. You can access everything that has been shared today on our various sites. Please feel free to continue engaging with us. We thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Let's pray. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. Praise be to God, the Lord of the worlds, the most merciful, master of the day of judgment. It is you we worship, and upon you we call for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those you have blessed and not those who have invoked your anger. Amen. Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we bring to a close our annual general meeting. It has been a pleasure and an honor to be the moderator of this year's AGM. And I'm Abi Agina. Let's keep engaging on our social media platforms. That's where we wrap it up here on our viewers on KTN Home. Let's now transition to our news on KTN News Desk. From me and the entire team, we say bye-bye for now. Asanteni sana, lunch is served. Bon appetit. You did not clap for the MC. Thank you so much, and let's keep working together. We need to get a quick photo on stage.
There's something on my mind, on my mind.
We'll call our top leadership for a quick photo on the main stage.